The Continental. Uh, this is a new John Wick TV series. It's on Peacock. It has audio description. It's a John Wick TV series without really any of the John Wick involvement. Keanu does not pop up. There's none of that. This is just feels like a straight to video sequel, like inspired by the franchise that went into theaters, and then they were like, yes, let's put this on, let's make a subpar version of this, but we're gonna make it a 3-part series on Peacock. It has audio description. Actually, the audio description is pretty good. I think it was Roy Samuelson. Peacock doesn't let me stay that long into the credits before trying to force me into something else. First episode was actually pretty long. I think it was at least an hour. It was maybe a little bit over an hour. I'm not impressed. I'm sorry. The biggest name here is Mel Gibson. The biggest name here is Mel Gibson. I've given you a moment to let that sink in. The biggest name is Mel Gibson. Okay, so we didn't do much to really assuage the audience of the idea that this is quality. This is not quality entertainment. This is just some cheap knockoff that back in the day somebody might have made and sent straight to video. You know, like the Disney sequels. You know. Just a quick cash grab. You know, we'll set it in the same universe, but it's also not really, doesn't really feature anybody. It's a spinoff of a character that's not really that interesting. I don't know that I needed to know the backstory of Winston. I don't think that's what I was saying. I mean, I love Ian McShane as an actor, but he's not even in this. So this is not like an Ian McShane spinoff. This is somebody else playing Ian McShane. So, and it's an actor who's best known for his brief role on The Flight Attendant. Like, we have not cast this very well. You cast this on the bargain, on the cheap, with cheap actors, and then you have a script, a screenplay for this that does not let me believe that you have any idea why people like the John Wick films. There's a ton of dialogue in this. I think there's more dialogue in this than there were in the last 2 John Wick films combined. Just in one episode of this film, of The Continental. Everybody has to express their feelings, and they have to express all of this exposition vocally. Are there action sequences? Sure. Do they come anywhere near the quality of any action sequence in any of the 4 John Wick movies? No, they don't. The fighting here just is not very interesting. It's not revolutionary. There aren't set pieces that you haven't seen before. There's nothing that really struck me as being like, wow, that was cool. Thank God. I totally understand why we made a Continental TV series. We're definitely answering some questions. It's just sort of like, hey, want to see where Winston started? Not really. No, actually I don't. And if this is where he started, I'm bored out of my mind. I'm not sure I'm going to watch the next 2 episodes. I was so underwhelmed by this. I actually am not really motivated to finish it. It's so unlike the franchise, but in all of the worst ways. You know, I see characters that we've introduced in the John Wick universe who deserve spin-offs, who are interesting characters, and it's like, oh, I'd love to see more of that story. The tracker from this last movie Would have loved to see more of his character. Donnie Yen's character. Would love to see more of his character. You know, I think they're making that ballerina spinoff, I believe, with Ana de Armas, but maybe I'm wrong about that. But they all feel like they're more interesting than this. This is like, Winston? Really? We made a movie about Winston? It'd be like going like into the Mission Impossible franchise and like doing an origin story for Benji. You know? Like, that's the character you chose to do backstory on? I don't understand the series. I don't get it. They're trying to make it interesting by the fact that Winston's brother, Frankie, steals a coin. Basically, he can mint his own money, right? Like, but he doesn't know what it is either because he stole it for somebody else. But ever since he stole it, the world has been coming down on him. He didn't really understand the secret organization thing. It's funny because, like, in John Wick 4, it's like the world knows. The entire world is involved in this organization. John Wick walks down the street and people like are staring at him like he's Beyonce. You know, like, you got Jason Mantzoukas is like a homeless guy in an alley, and he knows who John Wick is. He's like, yo, what up, John Wick? I'm like, assassins are like the most famous thing in this universe, but then they take you into the Continental, which just takes place in the 70s, and like, nobody knows what this stuff is. Nobody knows that the Continental that's what it's there for. That there's this secret organization that's been keeping. So it's like a massive contrast to the structure of the first film. So I guess that part interests me, on how did they go from being something that nobody knew anything about to something that every time they put out a contract, suddenly it seems like every single person in the entire known planet is a hitman. They just activate like a million hitmen, you know, within seconds. It's very, very different. I don't think any of it worked. There wasn't really anything that I liked about it. I don't really even like how we set it up for the next episode. They introduced characters that I don't really care about. They've introduced a lot of characters too. A lot of characters for me to not care about. There are a lot of characters in this series, with very just like a smidge of backstory. There's a cop. I don't know why I'm following her. I don't know why I'm supposed to care. You know, I don't know how she's going to figure into the plot. I don't really know that I care. There's Mel Gibson's mob, well, not really mob boss. He's sort of like running the Continental at the time. And obviously he has all these assassins that currently are at the Continental that he can use, that he can send out. He has squads who can squad up, and they can go after this box. And there's references to the underworld, and there's a character that plays like the adjudicator, and it's, oh my god, just please watch the movies. This is so disappointing. It's not that I don't believe that major franchises can be adapted into TV series, or the spin-offs can't work. The Peacemaker is a great example of taking the right character and making a TV show out of them. Absolutely perfect example of that. That show worked. This is awful. I really dislike this. Kill It With Fire. The actors are all just, none of them feel interesting. It's funny how I feel like people have spent the last 40 years making fun of Keanu Reeves' acting. Wait till you pick up this cast. Then you'll go back to Keanu Reeves and you'll hand him the Oscar. Because there's no one in here that I gave a shit about. including Mel Gibson. And there's not one character where I was like, oh, he's really cool. He's really engaging. There were characters where I was like, I've seen that done better before. I've seen this plot done better before. There's nothing here. There's nothing to see here. Peacock made the least interesting thing they possibly could out of the John Wick universe. It's baffling. It has a fantastic audio description, which is blowing my mind because Peacock has been leaning into some of the worst audio description for their shows. The audio description on Twisted Metal is fucking terrible. The audio description on Killing It is the actual track is better, but it did not transfer well. So it sounds poorly. It's poor quality sounding, if it makes any sense. Like the mixing did not happen very well. But no, Twisted Metal sounds outright. It's clearly AI. Like, that's not a human. There's no human narrating Twisted Metal. But here they went and got Royce Amundsen. So it's all right. So it has good audio description, but that's not a reason to watch this series. I'm serious. I really don't know that there's only 3 episodes, and I'm not sure I'm gonna watch the other 2. So, wow. I strongly dislike this. I gave John Wick Chapter 4 a B+ earlier this year. So this isn't just like a step down. This is like the stairs fell out and you're at the top and you didn't know the stairs fell out. And so you went for the stairs and then you just fell to the next floor. You just plummeted down from the second floor to the first floor. There are no stairs. They're just gone. And then your face hits the ground and you're like, where did the stairs go? Yeah, they're just not there. They just took the stairs away, and you just found yourself flat on the floor, wondering how you got there. That's Continental. So I'm gonna give the Continental Season 1, Episode 1 a D+. I don't recommend this, and it's graded so low that it's in the. I do a roundup on my website of the stuff that I'm watching. I don't bother you guys with a TV review of literally everything that I'm watching, but it's so low that it's in the range of shows I don't come back for another episode. So don't expect me to review more Continental episodes. If you like this, you deserve better. This is something that I'm not even really willing to have a discussion on, because it just means that you don't understand or don't like the John Wick films, because they're so totally different. But one of them is really fun and well thought out and has complicated action sequences, and the other one just has a lot of people talking and delivering exposition for an hour. So maybe this becomes something, but pilots are very important, because pilots, you don't always get people to come back for the second episode. Your pilot has to be great. This is not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you're not a subscriber, please click subscribe, and I will watch something else. It won't be this. I'll see you guys on the other side.